Hi friends, this is Dainty Tank. Thank you for joining me. Welcome back to Please Be Happy. I think it's part 18 in the series. It's been a hot minute, but guess what? I got new headphones. They fit my ears. They're not hurting my ears. They're not hurting my head. Oh my god, it's a whole thing. Of course, I've got like a learning curve with them. They're a little bit muffled right now, and I kind of need to do a little bit better with the feedback in them, but like I'm learning. I am learning. Hopefully I'm not too loud. I think I'm a little loud because I haven't figured it out yet. So please be patient and please be happy. With that, let's go back to things.
Oh, you didn't finish this one.
Nope, I did not. So back we are, relics of the past. Okay. Although Juliet doesn't reply to my text when I get back to the library, she's waiting for me with a big smile on her face. That's because she's figured out that the curse doesn't need like in person. It can be also a video call. And thus, Lena actually remembers. Lena?
Miho, welcome back. I saw your message, but thought I would wait to congratulate you in person.
Thanks. I'm still processing it myself, you know.
I grab one of the spare chairs from close by and then join her behind the desk, taking a seat.
Even though it's such a big deal for me, it was pretty normal for everyone else. Or at least, it should have been.
I slide the phone out of my pocket and hold it in my hand carefully, staring at the polished glass screen.
That doesn't make it any less special. Change doesn't happen all at once. You should enjoy these little moments along the way.
Yeah.
I'm sure she's talking about Aspen too, but bringing that up would just be bringing down the mood. Instead, I try what Juliet suggests, letting myself focus on the good things. That means from now on.
Yeah, you're right.
That little piece of technology that I'm holding is just the first step into a new world of possibilities.
No more being forgotten. At least, by the people that matter.
There we go. Oh, this is such a big moment for Miho. I mean, just, oh my god. Having a little square that's portable in your hand that could fix your relationships with everybody. Allow you to create relationships. Woo! As long as they have a phone too, at least. I know enough about phones and how unreliable they can be to know it isn't the perfect solution.
I still want to know more about my magic and how it works, though. I'm not sure I want to just get rid of it, like Aspen suggested.
That's fair.
I understand. As a human, I think it's hard for her to grasp what that would be like. There's certainly merit to learning about it, though, as you say.
It's kind of funny that now machines can do a lot of stuff that only magic could do before.
Oh, like flying, giant flying machines.
Like, flying.
There we go.
I used to be so jealous of Fabled who could fly.
I know quite what you mean. Why, sometimes I feel as if the rest of the world has passed me by with some of its changes.
That's fair. You've literally seen centuries worth of changes.
Really? I don't think so. I mean, you know how to use a phone and a computer and all those things. Seems like you're keeping up to me.
I was about to say, you're not that far behind.
Perhaps. I still prefer to write something by hand, or have a conversation face-to-face when possible, though. Maybe that's just what it is to get old.
Old indeed.
You're not getting old. At least, I don't think so. I don't feel old, and we've been alive for almost the same amount of time.
That face, we've been alive for almost the same amount of time, and I'm not old, so you can't be old.
I certainly do feel younger when you're around too. You remind me to enjoy the moment more often.
Aww.
That's what I'm here for. If there's one thing I'm good at, it's not thinking about the future.
Yeah. Fuck the future. Now, live in the present. No, think a little bit about your future. Making Juliet laugh makes me smile because it's something she doesn't do very often. When it happens, it's like a rare treat. Without Juliet, none of the good things in my life would be possible. She's the one who gave me a place to stay, a way to take care of myself. And now, she's even given me a way to be remembered. All of that for free, too. I know she says I don't owe her anything, but the least I can do is try and make her smile even more possible. Her smile when possible. Even that doesn't feel like it's enough. It's a start, though. She's always fond of saying, just like the phone, it's a start, too. Aww. Oh, that was facial expression. Juliet's laugh turns to a yawn, though she tries to hide it with the back of her hand, and I leap up from where I've been sitting.
I can take over from here, so you can go to bed.
Go to bed.
Thanks for covering for me while I was out.
It was my pleasure. It's nice to be behind the counter again every once in a while, and to see our guest in person.
Now that I think about it, she does sleep through the busiest hours every day. So she never really gets to see anybody enjoying the place she's worked so hard to put together.
Do you know most of them?
I recognize many, but it would be a stretch to say I know them. Their names, perhaps. Or even their reading habits. But not much beyond that.
That's too bad. I'll bet most people don't know how hard you work on the library, even though they come here all the time.
Oh, that's all right. I don't need the recognition, so long as the library itself is appreciated. Besides, you work harder for it than I do nowadays.
I guess that's true. But only so you can help people in other ways. Besides, you did my job for way longer than I have.
I mean, that's true, but don't discount yourself, Miho. You're doing a lot. Been here only a fraction of the time she has, but even I can remember some of the regulars. Although they occasionally ask about Juliet, it seems like they think of her more like a public service than a person. I can't pretend I don't understand why. It's like Juliet has two lives, the one that she leads at night by herself and the one that she briefly shares with everyone else every day. And both of those are devoted to the people of Wellington. She rises, gazing around the room. It's still early enough that there aren't too many patrons around, but a handful are browsing and reading. Watching her look around, I can see a kind of sadness in her eyes, like when she told me about Cassette or talked with me about Aspen. It's not too different from how she normally looks, but it's been enough time with her that I can tell the difference. It instantly tempers some of my excitement from the new phone.
What's wrong?
Oh, that's a look. Like, oh, I got caught. Her focus snaps to me and her face clears like I wasn't supposed to notice that.
Nothing. I was simply reminiscing a little. I do feel rather tired, though. Good night, Miho.
Good night. With her trademark smile, she turns and starts to stride past me on her way to her room. As she passes by, I clear my throat.
Hey.
Juliet pauses.
Are you sure you're okay?
I look up, but she's just facing forward, her eyes locked on the stairs. After a moment's hesitation, she starts walking again.
Yes. Good night, Miho.
That's a no, but I'm not up for talking about it. I have feelings. I don't want to stop her a second time, and I watch as she heads down the hall and then up the stairs. No one else seems to pay much attention. Just because we said that we'd be more open from now on, doesn't mean she has to tell me everything. She still has plenty of secrets, and that's for sure. I wish she'd let me try to help her, though, even if it's just listening. The way she can go from laughing to frowning in just a few seconds. Can't pretend that I don't relate. I wonder if one of those feelings is more honest than the other. If so, I can probably guess which one. Ooh. Whatever it is that has her down, it's not something that I can worry about too much right now. I'll be here if she needs, of course, but it's up to her to do that. It's very wise, Miho. For now, I'll just keep helping her out the only way I know how. One person checked in at a time. Pulling the morning stack of returns and requests, I get to work. Ha. Oh my god, there's a Tommy. Okay, Tommy. I'm sitting at the library's front desk when and Tommy come in, accompanied by Kirby, of course. She did say that they'd be back again. Two of them come over to where I'm sitting.
Hi there. Sorry to bother you. I know this is a weird question, but the other day there was someone here who played with my son while I was studying. But neither of us can remember who it was. Do you think you might be able to help?
Hey! Actually...
I explain my magic and how I've met Tommy and Gwen a couple of times, as well as Elijah. When I'm done, both of them look amazed.
Whoa! I can't wait to tell Dad!
That's certainly... a lot. But you know what? I believe it. It lines up with the gaps in my memory.
Yup. Yup. I mean, yeah. Gwen's right. That's certainly a lot to explain to people.
I thought I was just getting stressed out and forgetting things. Well, I probably am, but I'm glad it's not the case here. Is there some way to keep from forgetting you? Especially if we've met so many times before already.
We exchange numbers, and I tell her that Tommy's always welcome to come hunt for bugs here. I just don't know if I'll be joining him.
Talk to you later. Good night.
Aww. I press the button to end the call on my phone, and then gently set the device on my windowsill. Getting through the phone calls needed to make sure I'm not forgotten is more work than I expected. I'm glad that the people I've befriended are willing to put in the effort to see me every day. It's still such an inconvenience, though, and such a risk. For their sake as much as my own, I need to try and find a better solution. Whether that means getting rid of my magic entirely or not, I have to at least know what my options are. That's a good point. You need to be informed to make a decision here. And that first means learning about your magic. I can't leave it all to Aspen and Juliet to figure out either. I need to put my own effort in. While I'm not nearly as good at reading and researching as they are, there's still that one idea that's come to mind a few times. It's time to finally put it into action. Leaving my phone in my room, I get dressed and slip silently out the front door, making my way to Mount Victoria. Are you trying to learn from Silver? At the very edge of the path, I transform. Nose close to the ground, I head to the tree line and the wild part of the mountain. I'm rusty when it comes to tracking, and the sheer number of scents that assault my nose is overwhelming. I have to sift between them in my head while I run, disregarding the ones that I can tell are humans or other fabled or just part of nature. It isn't until I'm far from any roads or houses that I can finally catch what I'm looking for, that familiar but unrecognizable presence. Honing in on what I can detect of Silver's trail, I follow it as closely as I can. Sometimes the lead goes cold, but I pick it up again a few meters away, in a different direction. The path is windy and hard to follow. How does anyone live like this? It doesn't feel as if the path is leading anywhere in particular, but I stay on it, keeping my eyes and ears peeled for any other sign of her. Finally, after picking up the trail yet again near the river, I spot it and I follow it until I reach a familiar spot and transform yet again.
No way.
It's been weeks, but traces of my den are still there. The weather has destroyed a lot of it, but the tunnel is only half caved in. The evidence of the holes where I buried my stacks and supplies remain too. Has Silver been staying here? There aren't any signs of life more recent than mine. Still, her scent ends here, as if she just disappeared. Something rustles from over near the collapsed den. Even with the moonlight, it's hard for me to see, so change back into a fox, straining all my senses to detect something, anything. I don't. Nothing but me and the wind. Changing forms yet again, I still get the feeling that I'm not alone.
Hello?
Closing my eyes, I listen for any kind of response, a footstep, or a whisper, or even a breath. All I hear is silence.
Pitiful.
Pitiful. The question marks here. The voice is just inches from my ear, and I leap away on pure instinct, spinning around the face of Silver.
I gave you so many chances, and you failed every one of them.
Hi. Oh my god. I didn't know where she came from or how I didn't notice her, but she's here, slouching in the moonlight. Although I'm sure that, just like me, she could turn and run at a moment's notice. Or fight. Hope that's not what she wants, because I don't think I'd win. Yeah, you're kinda alone with someone who's may or may not be ready to kill you.
How'd you do that? Sneak up on me like that, I mean.
I didn't even have to try. I see nothing has changed since last time. If anything, the human pet has only gotten more docile. Tell me, do they feed you scraps from a bowl as well?
Such a dick.
It's a plate, usually.
Thank you, Miho. And it's not scraps. It's actually meal. She certainly hasn't gotten any nicer since last time. But as harsh as she sounds, she remains at a distance. I let myself relax a little. Now that I've had time to get used to her existence, she doesn't seem as intimidating. Even if I was more scared, I wouldn't want to show it like last time. Maybe it's because she reminds me of myself in some ways. Although her arms are crossed, one of her wrists shines in the moonlight from where her bead hangs on a strap. You know, almost like looking in a mirror. We're as different as two people can be, but just by existing, I feel some kind of bond with her. Something wild. Behind her shawl, I can see her eyes narrow.
So you admit it then. Perhaps it's for the best. A dog dreams of nothing more than its master's hand.
So mean.
You can close your eyes, forgetting what made you open them in the first place, and disappear.
Silver spits out her last words like a challenge, daring me to respond. Her eyes shine like her bead does. I wonder if mine says anything about me. I don't respond, unsure how, and not because she's made me question myself, but because I don't think she'd believe what I have to say. It feels like it's been ages, but really it's only been a few months that I've been here in New Zealand. Not even a year ago. Didn't I feel the same way she does? Telling myself that I wasn't missing out on anything by being alone, chasing some dream for decades without even stopping to think about it, just dreaming my way through life. How could I tell her that? How could I say that would change her? What could I say that would change her mind? I already know the answer. There isn't anything. Besides, sometimes there are no right words. That's a good point. Is it on you to change her mind? No. And not at all. It's not on you to make her rethink how she's living her life. You can say as many words as you want, but there are no right words to change someone's mind. You can't force someone to change the way of their thinking. And that goes for anybody. Specifically if you're thinking about this, in terms of having homophobic or transphobic parents or relationships, you can't just change them with words. You can't, and it's not on you to do that. Like, if you can say all you want, but ultimately it's up to them if they change or not. And if they don't put them as part of your life. You are worth so much more.
I see you've forgotten how to speak as well.
You've just been sitting here being a dick? What? You haven't asked any sort of questions. You've just been like a dick at Miho. Not asking a single question.
But tell me, if you can, what was it you hoped to achieve by coming here? I could have left you chasing your tail in the dark if I'd wanted to. But you've somehow made me curious. I fail to imagine the desires of a hound.
I unhook my necklace and hold it in one hand. The pearls make a soft sound as they bang against each other, but my bead clatters loudly against its neighbor. It's still glowing, same as this morning.
Because I wanted to ask you something. If there was some way to stop our magic. Stop people from forgetting about us.
My fingers curl over the bead. I don't even have to see her face to know her reaction. She laughs just once, and it sounds like a bark.
You managed to surprise me again. I didn't think even you would be so shameless as to try and rid yourself of your gifts. Ignore them, perhaps, but to abandon them? You have outdone yourself, dog. Fitting that you wear it around your neck like a collar.
God, you're such a dick.
As for forgetting, I can only guess at what you must mean. Don't think yourself the same as me. My magic is nothing like yours. It takes a different form in every one of our sisters.
Oh. Okay. So it takes a different form for each person.
My sisters, I should say.
Oh?
Then what does yours do instead?
I don't see why I should tell you that. A dog need not concern itself with affairs above its head.
This dog thing is getting pretty old, you know.
Oop, apologies, I got a phone call right as Miho was talking, so... this dog thing is getting pretty old, you know.
Then leave. I only chose to acknowledge you to satiate my own curiosity. It won't happen a second time. Goodbye, dog.
Oh, so is her name Silver? Quick as a flash, Silver transforms, the glow of her bead lingering for a moment in the air, before her paws have all touched the ground. She's already running away. Soon, even her shining fur disappears into the night. I don't give chase. I never really expected her to answer my question in the first place. Still, I don't think this visit was a waste of time. Before I leave, I take a final look around my den. When I left here with Juliet months ago, I expected to be back soon, but since I never went back. That's not true. You've come back accidentally, like a couple times, right? I think we've gone back and or at least we were close, I guess. Never really said goodbye. It wasn't much even then, but it's even less now compared to some of the other hideouts I've made. I didn't stay here very long. Still, it's special. I'd have a hard time going back to sleeping in the ground instead of a bed again, even if I had to. Maybe it'll change in the future, but right now, pretty sure that this will be the last den I ever made. Looking around, I'm all alone again, and it's silent. The birds that used to chirp and greet me in the morning are either sleeping or gone. Still,
Night-night, birdies.
night-night, birdies. I whisper a final farewell before changing forms and dashing back to the library. After my late night encounter with Silver, I decided to sleep in a little bit longer than usual. But when I head downstairs for breakfast, I find that I've still beaten Aspen to it.
Good morning, Miho.
Morning!
There are the usual 3 plates set, but only Juliet occupies the table. I take my seat as well.
No, Aspen? I guess I can call her if I need to.
She sent me a message to say that she'll be here, but that she's running late this morning.
Right on cue. The front door opens and Aspen hurries inside, clutching some papers as well as her bag to her chest.
Hello. Sorry I'm late.
Very sorry.
It's no trouble.
We were just talking about you. You've got pretty good timing, huh?
Only sometimes. Speaking of which, I can't stay too long today, but there was something I wanted to talk to you both about in person.
Oh?
What is it?
Let me catch my breath for a moment.
Okay. Aspen collapses into her seat, leaving her bundle of stuff in her lap. There's already a mug of coffee prepared for her by Juliet, which Aspen gulps down in a matter of seconds. Both Juliet and I watch in awed silence as Aspen scarfs down her meal, an equally short amount of time. I haven't touched my food at all yet. Not sure how she's supposed to catch her breath like this.
Did you forget to eat yesterday or something?
Shaking her head, Aspen shoves another piece of bread into her mouth, chewing and swallowing quickly. Finally, she puts down her utensils and sighs.
I'm in a bit of a hurry today.
I could tell.
Something tells me it's not on behalf of the Bell House.
No, not this time. The opposite, in a sense.
Oh?
I received this in the mail yesterday, after I got home from work.
Oh? She picks up the paper she brought with her and sets it on the table for us to see. A small envelope with a smaller letter inside. Aspen slides the letter out and starts to read.
It says, "Dear Ms. Benoit, we appreciate your manuscript submission and commend you for your success in completing a novel. Unfortunately, we do not find that it fits the criteria we're currently searching for, and as such, must respectfully decline. Best wishes, Purple Penguin Publications."
It takes me a minute to actually comprehend what she's saying. With everything else that's going on involving Aspen, I had forgotten all about her book.
Oh, Aspen. I'm so sorry to hear that.
No, it's all right. I wasn't expected to get accepted by everyone I sent it to. It's not the first notice I've received either. However, there are some revisions I'd already been thinking about making, and receiving this rejection notice inspired me to actually begin on them.
Nice.
I stayed up late last night making changes, which is why I was so late to arrive.
If and when I do find someone that will take it, I'm sure they'll be glad to know I've already begun making improvements.
How many are you still waiting to hear back from?
I don't even remember, to be honest. I mailed it to at least a dozen publishing houses. Maybe even twice that.
Whoa, that's a lot. At least one of them has to say yes, right?
I mean, some people go years without actually getting published. You can also self-publish now, though. Self-publishing is absolutely valid. It just requires a little bit more upfront capital, but it's also something that you have a lot more control over the publishing and the editing of that process.
That's my hope as well. However, I'm going to need to spend a lot more time working on it than I have been. Now that there's a draft complete, I can see all the different areas I need to touch up. So I won't be able to come by for breakfast quite as often. Now that I can call Miho, I'll check in that way every morning. But I won't be here in person as much.
All three of us pause, taking in the significance of Aspen's words. With only a couple exceptions, she's been here for breakfast almost every day that I've been in Wellington. It never crossed my mind that she might stop doing that at some point.
You'll be missed, of course, but that's quite exciting to hear. I can't wait to be able to put a copy of your novel on the library's shelves.
Please, that's still a long, long way off. Picturing that has been a motivator for myself as well, though.
Will we still see you again?
Of course.
Of course, I'm not dead, you know. Just busy.
Right.
I asked Regina if I might be able to reduce my hours at the Bell House some, too. She wasn't thrilled, but she understood.
Dang it. Now how will I get free coffee?
Lena.
You'll just have to pay like everyone else, I'm afraid. Or come by when I'm working. I'll still be there just as many days, but not for such long shifts.
Will you be coming to the library to write?
Occasionally, I'm sure. But it's easy to get distracted when I'm here.
I don't know what you're talking about. Totally don't. Between the child hunting for bugs and Miho hanging out and all of the patrons going in and out and in and out.
At home, I can just turn off my internet and get to work.
Oh.
That's what I tell myself I'll be doing, at least. Unfortunately, I do need to run for now. Since I overslept, I had to ask Lena to open without me. I have to get there before she burns the whole place down.
She'll be fine.
No wonder you were in such a rush.
Indeed. There's only so much time in the day, after all. But I wanted to say all this in person, since it may be a while before we see each other again.
Nice. Aspen carefully returns the letter to the envelope and then tosses that into her bag and stands up.
Thank you for breakfast. It was lovely, as always.
As always.
You're most welcome. I hope you'll be able to join us again soon.
Bye, Aspen. Good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you. See you two later.
Bye. I wave goodbye until Aspen's out of the library and the door is shut behind her. When I turn back to see Juliet, she's staring ponderously in the same direction.
You think she'll be okay?
I'm surprised she's doing as well as she is, all things considered.
Good point.
I had worried that receiving a rejection, which was nearly inevitable, would break her spirit. But it seems to have done the opposite.
Yeah.
Even though Aspen talks about how important her writing is to her all the time, it's something that I've always taken for granted about her. Just like how Juliet never leaves without her parasol. Aspen always has a pen and a notebook with her. At some point, I got so used to seeing them that I stopped really noticing. Now, though, our whole routine will be different. Even though I know it's not a big deal and that I'll see her every day, at least in the video call. It feels like the last part of my former friendship with Aspen is gone. Just another reminder that everything changes, whether I want it to or not. Sitting there in silence with Juliet, I can't help but think about her own sadness yesterday morning. Aspen isn't the only one who needs to be worried about.
Are you feeling any better today?
Oh, good question. Even if she doesn't want to give me details, I figure that's safe to ask. I mean, sure enough, she smiles at me.
I am, thank you. I'm sorry for leaving the way I did.
It's okay. I understand. You didn't hurt my feelings or anything, but I could tell you were hiding something. You don't have to tell me what it was, though.
She nods, looking at me intently, like she's searching for something. After a couple seconds, I have to look away, unable to maintain eye contact for much longer.
Miho, could I ask you to keep a secret? From everyone, but especially from Aspen.
Yes.
Yeah.
As I say that, I can feel my throat tighten. What could she possibly want to tell me? And only me. Biting her lip, Juliet thinks about it. If she really wants to say whatever it is. Finally, she looks away from me and instead gazes out the window, where the blinds cover most of the light.
I might be leaving soon.
No.
Oh, where are you going?
To the underworld, most likely. But I don't think I'd be coming back.
Oh.
That's all I can say. Oh. It's one of the last things I would have expected from her. The idea of Juliet not being here is inconceivable as the sky not being there.
As I said, it's only a possibility right now. Hardly a commitment or a guarantee. It's simply something I've been contemplating.
Once the initial shock wears off, I fly to my feet, smacking the table as I lean forward.
What about Aspen, though? What about the library? What about everything?
What about me? I want to ask, but I don't. You should.
Those are questions I've been pondering too. Someone else could take over the library in my stead. Most of the books and other items could remain here. Or perhaps this place could be reborn as something other than a library. It would be the decision of whoever came after me. As for Aspen, I'm sure she'd be sad at first. She has her own life, and other things to fill it with. Her writing, her friends, her work. Aspen's strong, as we've seen.
Why don't you want me to tell her?
My voice comes out as just a whisper.
I'll tell her when the time is right. There's no need to have it weighing on her mind when it may not even come to pass.
I hope it doesn't. Slump back into my seat, staring at the ground. Still can't fully believe what I'm hearing. Yet. How can I not understand?
And as for you, Miho,
Slowly I look back up, meeting her gaze only for her to glance away immediately.
I'm sorry. I'd stay in touch, of course. With you and with Aspen. Phones work in the underworld nowadays.
Although she smiles as she says that, we both know it's a small consolation. She drops it almost immediately.
I'm sorry.
To my own surprise, I manage to shake my head.
No, don't be sorry. I get it. I mean, I don't get it, but I do. What it's like to have to leave or be somewhere else. I know that feeling.
Gently, Juliet reaches across the table, and the tips of her fingers barely touching my hand.
You'll always have a home here. With or without me. The library is yours if you want it.
You're a very generous vampire. Just saying. Would you like a library? Consolation prize. I shake my head again. I know I don't want that. This library only exists because of Juliet. It's only home because of Juliet. Without her, it's just a building. Just 4 walls and a roof. Feels like those walls are closing in. Take a deep breath. Pushing down the rising feelings inside me.
You said your mind's not made up, right?
Yes. I have my reasons for leaving, but I have reasons to stay as well.
Okay. That just means I have to find a way to make you want to stay.
Yeah! Come on, Vampy, let's go have a date. If I think of this as a task, as a problem to be solved, then it's easier. I can't act like it's already too late and let myself get overwhelmed with bad feelings. There we go. It's not over yet. Keep going. Juliet's jaw drops, but like always, she quickly regains her composure. I can't help but notice the way she struggles to find words at first.
I couldn't ask that for you. Besides, you and Aspen are already 2 of those reasons. The biggest 2, in fact.
What about the opposite? The ones that make you want to leave?
Those are more complicated.
Oh, do tell.
I'm sorry, Miho. I know how this must all come across to you. It's difficult for me to explain when I'm still sorting out my own feelings, though.
Thank you for opening up, though. That's the big part.
I promise I'll tell you when I can.
We look across the table at each other. It's uncomfortable making eye contact like this. The big part of me wants to look away, but also, I can feel there's something different about this moment. Like, I'm really seeing Juliet, and I can tell that she's being as honest with me as she can. Maybe for the first time ever. I can tell that this isn't easy for her either. Finally, I nod, staring at our linked hands. I really do understand.
I won't tell Aspen, like you asked.
Thank you.
But that doesn't mean I won't try my best to make you want to stay either. Can you tell me one thing, though?
She hesitates, tensing up. I'll just ask.
Does it have anything to do with the other vampire who came here a few days ago?
Her shoulders relax and her lips curve just barely upwards.
I should have known you saw him.
Sorry. I wasn't trying to. He flew right past my window, though.
It's fine. It's not a secret. That was Ezekiel, a vampire much older and wiser than I. Prefers to keep his own company, which is why you haven't met him. Very few people have. To answer your question, somewhat. We first met in the underworld, but He also came to the overworld before I did. When I first arrived here, he was the one who offered me guidance and advice. He even helped me get here in the first place. Now, many years later, he too is preparing to return home for a long, well-deserved rest. When I heard of his intentions, it planted the seeds of that in my mind. Or rather, helped it take root. It had already been on my mind.
I see.
It makes sense that she'd know other vampires. Yeah, kind of vampires know other vampires. That's how vampires are made. Even if I never see them myself. I wonder what he must be like for Juliet to call him wise. Juliet leans back in her chair, retracting her hand with a sigh.
Thank you for hearing me out. Will you be okay, Miho?
Yeah, I'm fine. Just surprised is all.
I know. I thought you would be, but I didn't want to hide it from you any longer.
Good. Don't bottle up those feelings.
Thanks. I'm glad you told me. It makes the other stuff make sense too.
The quiet sadness when she looks around. The way she talks about the library. In her heart, she's already said goodbye, hasn't she? Well, we both stand up, ready to go our separate ways, although I feel shaken by our conversation. I'm also relieved to understand her a little more. It's better than just wondering. With one final smile, Juliet passes me by.
Good night, Miho.
Night.
Aww. Alright, we're gonna stop there. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for also being such an awesome crew. I read all of your comments. I do, even though I don't always respond to them. And I really appreciate all of your time. I love you all, and I'll see you next time. Bye!